right, well, welcome back to the CounterStrike Casuals podcast. This is episode 50, the big 50. We've made it. We've not been
Mate, and it
cancelled.
feels like it's like we planned it. It's just on time. Let me just do this because I know that you won't be.
Oh, listen to that beautiful sound. And we're lucky that we made it here actually after such a heavy weekend at Blast, but also because Briley over here has got a you got like an intentional need to get divorced, it seems, because you were this weekend when we were at Blast London, it was your wedding anniversary. How many years?
6 years married, yeah.
So 6 years married, and instead of being with your wife you were with me. And then on the Sunday it was Father's Day, so you got two kids.
This is one of my Father's Day beers.
Happy Father's Day, mate.
Thank you, kids.
And then last night when we were meant to be recording this, we're a day late. You text me. I was like, "Are we recording tonight?" You're like, "Yeah, no problem. It's my wife is just packing." I'm like, "Packing? Oh, she has divorced you then. That's good timing." And you're like, "No, she's going away tomorrow for a week in Spain." So you were then going to record on the night before your last night with your wife for a week. So, and I had to be like, "Look, we do not need to record this. I know it's exciting. It's the 50th episode and we've got lots to talk about off the back of Blast, but please just don't get divorced for me. I'm semi-expecting your wife to think you're having an affair with some bird called Diz or something. Dizzarina.
No, I'm far too nerdy for that. Far too gone. No, she's a good one. To be fair, she was cool about Blast. We booked it ages ago, and I think partly the fact that she's going to Spain for a week, she let me
Soften
off.
the blow. Yeah,
she let me go to London for one weekend to watch a computer game.
Fair enough. Yeah, you've earned that. Well, look, mate, we went to Blast. Yeah, we've been talking about this, and the listeners are probably bored of hearing about it a bit, but we've got to talk about it because that is only my second proper live CounterStrike event. The other one being in Copenhagen.
Oh, mate, how was it?
I think this was better.
Mate, it was so good. Like, in the moment, you don't kind of realise, but afterwards, I was just like, it was so good. It just felt so full on. We drank so much, probably too much, and it was sick. I had a really good time.
That's the funny
And
thing.
I have to thank you, man, because you put me up while I was down there as well.
Yeah, no worries. That's the funny thing about, I think, gaming events, and obviously that's our second watching of Counter-Strike. However, we've been to a couple of LANs or whatever, and even they were actually boozier or more drinky than I expected. And so the funny thing about that is, even if you don't drink, you can have a great time. And this isn't about talking about getting wasted or anything. But the interesting thing is, I just never quite expect how rowdy it can be. And even when we first got into Blast, the arena, the atmosphere, I think I said to you, I was like, "Mate, this doesn't seem like the same vibe as Copenhagen. Copenhagen seemed to have a bit of a better, like, it felt busier and more full Copenhagen."
Yeah.
But that all disappeared like as soon as the first round started, and it was like everyone was just like, "Let's go," and the atmosphere really picked up.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like, not everyone was drinking. I think we're probably drinking quite a lot, but there was a lot of people not. And I think there was a guy behind us. He was also a dad. He was an older gentleman. He was around our age, a little bit older, and he was just on his own behind us. I don't think he was drinking, or not much anyway. And he was enjoying it. He was getting involved. So there's lots of people drinking and not drinking, but the atmosphere is still great.
Yeah, and I've never actually been to that venue before in London, and actually it was a really good venue, and it hosted it.
And the staff were really good.
The staff, mate, shout out the staff. We had some good bar staff. But the arena itself was good. Like it was easy to get in. It wasn't a hassle. The stage setup looked great, right? I think the stage was sick. I really like how Blast did it. We went on the Saturday, which was the semi-final day. But I can't recommend it enough to anyone that's never been to actually watch CS. Like, you should definitely go, because even when we went to Copenhagen, that was an amazing time. We watched 2 days at Copenhagen. We watched the semi-finals and the final. But this was just the semi-finals. But yeah, really shout out to everyone. It was such a good time.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to everyone like involved, but also like all the fans. Like, there was a lot of like Ukrainian fans there, and like fans from all over the
Latvians,
world.
yeah, there
Yeah,
was loads. It was
from
very
everywhere,
diverse.
and everyone's sound like it gets a little bit rowdy, and it does get a little bit like almost like a football crowd, but everyone's sound at the same time. Everyone's really nice. Everyone's chatty and friendly, and it's such a diverse audience. And if you've not, excuse me, if you've not been to a CS event or anything like that, and you've even contemplated it, even if you're not that into CS, it is a really good experience. Like when people find out, you're watching a computer game, you're watching people play a computer game. It does sound silly, and if I wasn't involved in CS and this, I would think the same. But honestly, get yourself down to one. It is really enjoyable. Pick a team that you want to follow, do a little bit of research or whatever. Listen to our podcast, you'll get some info about the pro teams, and just get down. It is sick.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, right? Because I've got a friend that when I said, oh, well, he saw my Instagram post and sent me a silly comment, and then I spoke to him on Monday. He was like, "How was your weekend?" or whatever. He was like, "Oh, you're at that event," and he was like, "Mate, it sounds so weird slash bad," and he's not into football or traditional sports anyway. I said, if I'm honest, I reckon you'd enjoy that more than if you went to watch a football game, like, because I think you just vibe, like, you have a few beers, you can actually have a few beers whilst watching, which for our American listeners, you can't do that if you're watching a soccer game here. So you can have a few beers, you can chill out. It's interactive, like in between the maps, as in the stage hosts are interactive. You can actually hear the full commentary, unlike again where you go to a traditional football game. You can see all the stats, what is happening there. Again, unlike a traditional sports game, unless I think basketball probably do in the NBA.
Well,
They probably got some stats.
it's similar. It's similar in a sense because it's quite fast paced compared to something like football. The crowd's getting really hyped when someone gets, like a free K or something, which, or maybe not even a free K, but there's a kill on one side of the map, then there's a kill on the other side of the map.
Yeah,
And the crowd gets hyped about it. And even as like a novice, like or a casual, you notice what's going on, even if you don't really play CounterStrike. You can kind of see that someone made a good shot. It's very clear. It's not like watching, I would imagine, like League of Legends or something along those lines, where it's not as clear when someone's done something impressive. CounterStrike's fairly, black and
crisp.
white. Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we, before we shout out some other people that we met, man, because we actually met some top dogs. Should we actually just talk about the games we watched? Which actually we don't need
Yeah.
to spend. I don't think we need to spend loads of time on this because
Well, I wanted to do a disclaimer before we do talk about it, because yes, we were there, and we've already said that we drank quite a bit, and I feel like because we were there, I should have a better memory of the games than I do. I mean, the first
I have
game,
some real stat. Okay, yeah, go on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I was just going to say the first game wasn't too bad. I watched it quite intently, but I think the second game we drank a fair bit more, so maybe my memory's not as clear.
Well, thankfully, the second game was a bit more of a clean cut whitewash, which there's not much to discuss with the second game. The second game, mate, VP just didn't turn up, and I really remember thinking Electronic. Well, I think I remember turning to you being like, mate, I forgot Electronic was even playing. Like, I don't even know where he was. I think JL ended up that series with the better result. I cannot for the life of me remember being that gassed up when he was playing. I definitely remember some wonderful plays, thinking nice, and I think we were getting quite excited about wonderful. But again, fair play to JL, man. He showed up. He put in some good numbers. He actually ended up at 1.53 after those two maps that they won. But mate, VP just didn't turn up, so that's probably why you also can't remember it. It was a good job that game was second, and we don't remember much of it because there's not. It was just Na'Vi just dominating, and everyone performing who you expect to perform on Na'Vi did, and no one on VP turned up. To be fair as well, the crowd was so anti VP. I remember how anti VP the crowd were.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. Well, there's a lot of Navi fans as well, right?
Yeah, there
And
was.
there was
I don't
quite a
think you're
few
going to get loads of
Ukrainian.
VP fans. Yeah, there was. Yeah, I get.
Is
Yeah,
Electronic Russian?
yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but you say that, but then in the final, and in the semi-final when we watched Spirit, mate, people were getting so excited for Spirit and Donk. I mean,
Nah,
well,
I definitely think the crowd was
we wanted Vitality to win because of
Vitality
Mezzi,
happy.
true, but I remember people shouting Donk.
Yeah, you're gonna get the Donk fans, aren't you? Because he's an exciting player. But other than like the odd Donk fan, I would say the majority were for the
Let,
opposing team.
let's talk about Spirit Vitality. And yeah, obviously we were all
Okay, yeah,
backing for Vitality, and the Mezzi love was like real, right? We just wanted Mezzi to win more than anything. Um, so I seem to remember fuckloads of impact from Flamesy again, like just like the games they had before against FaZe. I remember him doing multi kills. We were getting well excited about his impact, man. He was like everywhere. I think the first map it was ZywOo, and ZywOo had Donk in his pocket. Um, but then Flamesy was like always doing something. I actually felt Flamesy over the course of this whole tournament, if he'd got to the final, even if they'd lost, he would have had a strong shout for being MVP or second in line for MVP because he just played so well. Um, that being said, Spirit beat Vitality, much to our and the crowd's dismay, and everyone wanting Mezzi to just make it for the sake of it being the only British person there. What did you think then? Spirit Vitality.
yeah. It was a really enjoyable game. I don't know whether it was more enjoyable because we were in the arena or whether it was an enjoyable game. Definitely the first map was sick, and the second one, third one felt a little bit less exciting. I
Yeah,
said on the last podcast, if Spinks can show up, I think Vitality could do really well. And boy, could I be more wrong. Spinks wasn't too bad. He was better than he has been previously. The second map on Dust 2, he was their top rated player on Vitality. But yeah, fair play. I would say Spirit are the better team, so I would say the better team won on the day. But Donk didn't have as much impact as I was kind
yeah,
of expecting, and I feel like it's unfair because the guy's unreal, right? But yeah, I didn't feel that impact. I don't know whether the viewers, what do you call the guys that are viewing the cameras?
the observers, whatever they're called. Yeah,
Observers, yeah.
I don't
I
know if
don't
that's
think they
actually they're
were
called.
catching all his kills because they do just come from nowhere and probably pretty
I think that's the
unexpected.
problem, right? And
I think Shiro showed up.
yeah, well, I remember. I'm basing this on our reactions and how excited we were at the time more than anything, which I guess is like the best eye test you can get if we're just getting super excited in there. And for me, I just remember being excited about ZywOo and Flamesy. Like I don't and Mezzi. If Mezzi did anything, everyone was just getting excited, even though he.
Yeah, Mezzi could throw a smoke and everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, we were like taking our shirts off, going mad. So it just felt all Flamesy and ZywOo and Mezzi. That's why when you come out of it, it's disappointing Vitality lost, and also you kind of scratching your heads in a weird way, like how did they actually lose that? Because
First map, they were so dominant. They started off the game really well.
I think as well at one point, but this again might have been Beers. I think as well. I swear afterwards, you or someone was just like, "Mate, did Vitality even lose? Who's in the finals? If Vitality Navi?" By the end of the night, I think we were just like, because it just felt like everything was Vitality based and all the impact was coming from them. But I agree. I don't think Donk felt like he was the one we were going, oh, do you know what I mean? We weren't just like, oh no, what's going on? It was all other players, but
maybe because we weren't like rooting for him. But yeah, I think you get a little bit. You have the blinkers on. I think when you're in the arena and you're drinking and whatnot, you're not really watching it as intently as you normally would.
yeah. It was cool though. When you watch them, you said this right. When you watch these pro players in real life, how good are they?
Yeah, it's unreal. It's a little bit like
It's funny.
yeah, it's hard to comprehend.
It's funny because also when we spoke to a few people in the crowd and we asked, "Oh, what's your face it rank and what's your elo?" And there's some really good players that go like amateur players. You know, we call them amateurs. We call us casuals because we're like proper low
We're
on
at
the
the bottom.
spectrum.
Yeah.
amateurs are probably like the face it tens, proper reload up, really really playing well, and then obviously you've got the pros that are like stratospheric out of this. They're not on our scale, and they
Yeah, but even for pros, like we watched the creme de la creme, like Donk, ZywOo, um,
everything they
you know,
do, and
they
the games themselves just feel so much more slow and considered than anything we would ever actually partake in. That's the one thing I always notice when I go to watch these guys. It's like everything they're doing is thought about, or there's a plan for it all. Whereas we would never think that far ahead. Not that we're expected to,
yeah,
but do you know
these
what I mean?
guys literally it's their job. There's thousands of pounds or dollars on the line, and I panic more in a fucking 1v1 situation than they would in like a 1v3, like you know, last fucking round before they have to win the whole series, and I panic more in my little public game than they would.
Yeah, yeah. Another good thing I found about being in the person or in the crowd, right, is mate, we got to witness firsthand how much Apex was tilting and like how Apex's reaction to everything. I mean, he spent half his nut day just tilted or like frustrated.
There was a round where he just stopped mid round, and I think he was in Palace, and he let go of his keyboard, and he was just like talking. You could see he was
Ranting.
visibly frustrated, and I don't know if at this point they were winning, and I
I think
think
it probably
and I think
it wouldn't matter to him.
Spirit were catching them up. Yeah, Spirit were catching them up, and yeah, he was visibly pissed off.
Well, again, that's again. I've noticed it with Alexi B as well. I don't know if I noticed it with James as much or Chopper, but like Alexi B and Apex felt like they're constantly talking, you know. And unless you're watching on Face It, where you can choose, no, not even then, because you wouldn't have their phone, you just have their point of view. That was the real good benefit, I think, of being in the arena. We could see everyone's face cam, and I was shocked at how much Alexi B and Apex are constantly communicating with their team, calling stuff, managing. Like it was just constant. Like I had a bit of a newfound respect for people like the RGLs and those guys because you can see that they're constantly churning and thinking, what do I need to be getting Mezzi to do, or what do I need, JL to be doing or calling. So yeah, fair play to them. That was another thing I noticed about being in there. Um, we met some of the talent.
Yeah,
Mate,
so we were sat
we
near the
met
casters, right?
yeah, we sat near the casters. Let's talk about the casters first, then we can go on to players. We met we so where we were sat was like on the same level, same tier as the casters, so we could literally walk up to the casting booth in between maps or series. Obviously, we wouldn't.
People could have like literally gone. They could have got in
Yeah,
their
like
little area, but you could have like people if they were being dickheads, like could have been right next to them or shouting abuse, or if people are just
yeah.
I don't know, like unaware of.
I feel like we were probably more likely to do that, but we were very
Yeah.
restrained and professional. That's how I felt.
Well, we tried to be.
Yeah, so we went up to Harry and Hugo first after the second map. I think maybe we got ourselves some Dutch courage and lovely guys, man. We said hello. We got a photo. We
Really, really friendly guys. I was surprised
What
how
did you think
open.
they were gonna do?
I just thought they'd be like, yeah, let's have a picture. Boom, see you later. But they were really like happy to engage, and you gave them some CounterStrike casual stickers, and they were like, oh, cheers, guys, thank you. And you told them we did a podcast, and they were like, oh, amazing, I'll give it a listen. And I just didn't expect them to be as engaging as they were, and also as friendly. Like, I thought they'd probably like, for fuck's sake, we've got to talk about, the upcoming map or what we've got to do next, and everyone wants pictures and stuff. But no, they were really good. And also, even before we went over, I was singing their praises to you, like how good a job they do, how impressive they are. They bring all the hype, right? If you were just watching the game without them, sometimes you wouldn't have a clue, sometimes you'd miss things, and also it wouldn't be as exciting. Like, they bring so much hype, and I think they do a really good job.
Yeah, I agree. Same for. Well, shout out Harry and Hugo, and thank you for, yeah, letting us talk to you. That's very appreciated. And same for Scrawny and Launders, who we met on the next, or I keep saying meet like we had a fucking beer with them. We basically, it's like the equivalent of you storming into their office while they're writing an email and going, "Hey mate, can I have a photo? Also, I'm doing some work downstairs and I'm not getting paid for it. So would you ever come have a look at it for me?" It's like complete opposite of actually meeting someone. Anyway, so then afterwards we did the same to Scrawny and Launders, went up to them, said hello, and again they were just as nice, right? Like they were nice guys.
They were awesome.
We didn't quite engage with them as much, I don't think, but then maybe that was just because we were like, whoa.
I felt also like a little bit like I was being annoying, like asking for pictures. Like I don't feel comfortable asking for pictures with people anyway. So
yeah, I think at that point as well that was the later game where we had a few more drinks. But again, one thing that just touching what you say with these guys, like the energy they brought, and like, mate, they're so animated and they're like just constantly standing up and like they must have their backs in. I didn't realise they're constantly like leaning over the screens to watch just so they can get the energy and the vibes up. So yeah, it was great. We shouted.
It was amazing, like watching them work, like just standing there watching them just talking to each other. But it was just impressive, like just watching them. Like you're used to hearing them, right? But you're watching the game.
Yeah.
But to actually hear them talk, like I know I couldn't do it. Like I don't know if you think you could, but there's no way on earth I could do anything like that. Like talking on this, podcast with not many listeners is completely different. But just commentating on a game the way they do is just really impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, shout outs to both of them, both couples.
All four, yeah.
Yeah,
They're like
they're couples. I feel like they're one person.
Yeah.
That's our fangirling of those guys over. That's your lot. We can't do it too much.
So go on. I know you want to talk about who else we met.
Who else? Well, we shouted at Banks. We didn't actually meet Banks.
Oh, Banks is an absolute legend, but there was a queue to meet him, right? And we didn't know what people were queuing up for, and obviously the only thing we're gonna queue up for was beers. And
so we just shouted at him, and he was like, "Well,
I'm
shouted."
And mate, even more so for him. Like I was singing the praise of the casters, but Banks was an absolute legend. Like he was stood there doing well, would you call them meet and greets?
Oh, signing
things for people, and there was a massive queue, and we drunkenly heckled him, and he was super friendly, and he was super friendly on the socials. He said he put one of our stickers on his laptop case.
Top guy.
He was like, do you know what? All of them were way more friendly than I would expect, and that's not like any shade thrown. I just think I would expect them to be a bit sick of all the attention and
well, interesting. So nice. Interesting you say that, Brady, because let's talk about one person who come away from this weekend with a disappointed.
He left a sour taste in your mouth.
He left a sour taste in my mouth, and didn't even make it to the final. So let his team down, let his country down, let his country of France down, let the CounterStrike casuals down. And
well, he let the UK fans down as well because Messi was on his team.
So, picture this, casuals. I'm in Five Guys. Everyone knows what Five Guys is. I think it was midnight.
Probably. So this was after the event. Yeah, we left
after copious amounts of alcohol.
We were hungry.
We eat. I think we eat, or were we queuing? You might actually have to help me this bit because that was definitely.
I remember because I walked in there, and my other half loves the Five Guys as well. I sent her a picture when we walked in. I was like, "Look where I am. Bet you're jealous." And then we queued up. We placed our order. Then we were waiting, and this was a busy Five Guys for midnight. There was a lot of CS fans in there, and there was a lot of people waiting.
And then it was like there was just like a shining light from one side of the queue, and it was fucking ZywOo. ZywOo was stood there with his mates, and I asked for a picture.
He wasn't. Yeah, he'd ordered. He was kind of waiting around, and he'd already placed his order. He was just chatting. He wasn't being hounded. I would imagine.
Well,
he wasn't being hounded at all, and I was just like, there's ZywOo," and you were like, "What? No way!" And you just got up, waddled over. I don't know what you said, but you seemed pretty friendly. You were just like, "Hey mate, is there any chance I could have a photo?" And
Yeah.
he was just like, he seemed pretty friendly, like the friendliest way you could say no.
Yeah, I mean, me doing the intro to this little story is me being over the top for the drums and the content. When I actually look back and reflection, when you wake up and you start thinking, oh no, because he said him and his mates were like, look, now unfortunately not, because if we do photos right now, it'd be like everyone's gonna want one. Effectively, you're a fucking drunken mess. We can't sat in five guys taking photos. We want to kind of just eat our food, chill. Matey's had a long day, which is completely fair enough, and it was a nice way to do it. And I think I was just like, oh, come on, and he was just like, no. So
no one likes the rejection. But
yeah.
At the time, I was like, no, I agree with you. And he was there for a while, right? And like I say, there was a big wait, and we were like, we were taking pictures from a distance and just.
I mean, even that's cringe. We shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
So apologies to ZywOo, man. We should have been adults. We're fucking grown men with children. We sat there.
Yeah. So I was at the time, I was like, no, don't agree with you, Diz. If he doesn't want any pictures taken, it's fair enough. Just leave him alone.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment now.
And then later, well, not later, the days after, I was thinking, don't know actually, now I think about it. There's these obviously extremely A-list celebrities, extremely famous people that do spend time with the fans. And at the end of the day, ZywOo, I do feel like should have taken some pictures with the fans because I don't want to be that fan. I don't want to be that guy. I would never force anyone to do anything, and I wouldn't kick off either. But we do pay his wages in a sense. Like the amount of people that go to see him, and he's going to Five Guys after the game. And I understand it's an inconvenience, and I understand. I just want to go and get a burger and just chat with my mates and whatnot. I'm sorry, but if you get paid a lot of money to play a computer game, and all these people have just paid to come and see you, I know it's an inconvenience, but take some fucking pictures with the fans.
He may have taken some photos earlier in the day, though. This was late at night, the end of the night.
Yeah. This is funny because this is not how the conversation I thought was going to go. I thought it'd be you saying, he should have took some pictures. You were pissed off all the way home. You were pissed off.
I know, but I've reflected hard on it, and I like I said, a bit of realization and what's the word? It's like, when like the lights and the dust settles after a boozy when you're like, I shouldn't have said that. I basically got rejected and then said, fuck you, I didn't even want you anyway.
Yeah. So do you think they should take photos?
I think if he's not taken any all day and he's gone around his day, like even if after the arena, like 6-7 p.m. and he's like not just trying to get food at midnight, I think at that point, I think he should take pictures then. That's how I feel like he should, because that's harsh, man. There's probably like younger kids that want photos then, like real people that will be looking up to him thinking, yeah, this is like the one chance to meet ZywOo. I kind of get it because of the situation, that why he said no. Okay.
Well, he was busy.
But it was just like end of the night, and like he was.
Well, I don't think anyone was asked. I didn't see that many people ask him in general.
No, I feel like I may have been one of the only. I
think a couple of others. I saw a couple of other guys go over.
They might have saw me get firmly rejected and thought,
yeah,
that guy's embarrassing.
I think you were the example. They used you as an example.
Yeah.
But the funny part of this story is, who else was in Five Guys?
Well, hang on, I can't remember. This is funny. This is like we're actually debriefing from the night last. It was like last night. Why was I not with you at this point?
Right. So we were sat there after the ZywOo situation. We were waiting for our burger. We might have been eating our burgers. And I saw this small little man walking past. And I was like, I recognise that's Imma. That's Imma's here. No one bothering him. No one.
So you're like, right, I could bother him.
No, the guy just got his 5 guys and walked out. And I'm pretty sure I said to you, that's Imma. Imma's there. And it was just
At that
kind
point,
of
I'm just
thing.
like, ZywOo.
Yeah, I think we were just like done. We were drunk. We thought we're not asking anyone else for photos. Like it's cringe, and we're drunk, and they probably don't want photos. So then I went toilet. You were gonna wait outside or something, and then I went toilet, went outside, and you weren't there. So I was outside waiting, ringing you.
Yeah, I woke up to like loads of missed calls. I was like,
Yeah,
I was with you all
you.
night.
Yeah, and I was like, where the fuck are you? I said in your voice notes and stuff. And then Imma was sat outside eating, and I knew he was there. I was aware he was sat there the whole time. He was with 2 girls and a guy. And then as he was leaving, I was like, oh, just fucking ask him for a picture, because like no one was bothering him. He was going anyway. It was literally, I had the camera ready. I was like, don't quick selfie. I wanted to send it to you, to be fair, because I thought you'd just gone. And then you walked out with your milkshake, and I was like, oh, look at this. And I knew he was small, but I was a bit surprised how short he was. But yeah,
that's the takeaway there. Was he nice? Was he amenable?
He was super friendly, yeah. But like I say, he wasn't getting pestered by anybody. I didn't see anyone else bother him at all. He was just sat outside on his own with his friends, and he just walked off. So yeah.
The interesting thing after that is you tweeted him or something, saying good luck with your selfie, and I think when I watched the final, I think he actually, the first map or so, played really well or had some really good impact moments, and I was like, lol. Imagine like they go on a winner and he gets like top stats, and you can claim it's because.
Yeah, I put it on our story on our Instagram story. Say good luck.
Imagine, but I think he played all right. They obviously didn't win, and I don't think he did amazingly. But I seem to remember watching some parts, thinking, "God, he's starting to pick up a bit here." Okay, so that is the conclusion of our drunken night in Wembley. And
yeah, and apologies to everybody if that was like really shit to listen to. It might have been really good. I don't know, but there you go.
Well, there's some real life, in-person tales of people we met, and how basically ZywOo is an arrogant fuck. No, nah, fair play. Okay, listen.
Nah, he was super friendly. Like even that, like I said before, it was the nicest way you could have rejected someone. He seemed super nice from where I was sat anyway. I didn't even get out of my seat. I was just watching you get rejected.
Yeah, man. Imagine it was Apex and he's like, "Fuck off." To be honest, that would to me would have been like the best thing, just to get like tilted and fucking flamed at by.
I wonder why not many people were going over, or not many people seemed like Imma. I didn't see anybody ask Imma. Do you think?
Maybe there was less CS fans in there than you thought.
Do you reckon?
I think CS fans look like you and me, mate. Quite normal. I don't know what you're thinking they are. They're not walking around with mouse and keyboard attached there.
No, but I assumed they were all CS fans because it was right next to the venue.
Yeah, maybe, but it's also like
and there was nothing on.
No, nothing else off on. I don't know.
It did seem like there was a lot of CS fans. There was definitely a few in there, but yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so that is Blast. Great fun, and I think during the event, Blast may have announced they were coming back to London next year, so we'll be going back, no doubt, if they are.
Well, we need to arrange the next event we're going to.
Yeah, we'll sort that out off air. We'll get through some of this other stuff because there's a bit more to talk about. Like there were some other events on whilst Blaster on, which I didn't watch any of it, but let's just quickly touch on it. I think
there was the Swedish one and there was the Fire League or something.
Yeah, the Swedish one and Fire League. Those are great new names for them. Well, the Fire League is actually the name, but the Swedish one is Jönköping. Jönköping.
Yeah, I told you in the last podcast. It's the Swedish one.
The Swedish one. Who I kind of tipped Mongols to probably win on the back of their last couple of wins, but they didn't do quite as well. They didn't even get to the playoffs, which fair enough. That would have been like the third proper win on the run. So not much, it's always hard to maintain that kind of consistency. But mate, it was won by complexity, and they beat Falcons in the final. And I've actually been meaning to go back and watch the highlights of this, and I still might do it while the player breaks on because I just want to kind of see how that game went. Like, that's a nice little matchup for top 10 to 15 bracket ranked teams, and they're two teams that I think a lot of people have a lot of interest in, right? And like, kind of, I don't know, I feel like I'm always intrigued to see how they're doing. Fair play to Complexity. Apparently, like, they haven't won a trophy in like 14, 15 years or something. So fair play, man. And like, if anyone deserves it or deserves trophies, it's Elige. So what a boy. What a boy.
Looking at that, you would expect those or the Mongols, right? I did say to you, I don't know if this was on the podcast or maybe it was just in person, if Falcons don't do well at this event, then they're definitely doing a roster change. Would you say they've done enough
I
to
don't
warrant keeping the team, or would you still change?
Mate, I think I still change. I mean, they beat an Ents that really hasn't come together, actually, surprisingly, despite my past thoughts and excitement at seeing STY and Poddy in that team. They don't seem to be gelling quite yet, or something's missing there in the semi-finals. So I don't think that's anything to write home about. I don't know who else they beat. Who else was in their group? I mean, did they beat them? Did they beat the Mongols? No. They lost to Aurora. Falcons did.
Yeah, so it doesn't really say
They
much,
beat
does it?
Party Astronauts. Oh, they did beat the Falcons. The Mongols. My mistake. And 2-0 actually, to be fair. So I don't know. That's the only team they beat worth noting. I think the Mongols. That's their only real result there. And again, Mongols might have been coming into this with a bit of fatigue. They've been doing a lot of travelling around to these tournaments. I think good for Complexity, in particular Elige. I think I want to see them winning more. I think it's always good to have a competitive NA team. But Falcons do need to make changes. Interestingly, right, who would you change at Falcons? I mean, weirdly, if you actually look at the stats and saw some tweets about this, it is not a shock. And again, if you're new to this podcast, you can go back and you can watch our video of the top 5 CSGO players of all time. There's a reason we put the man Dupree in that top 5. He's actually been one of the Falcons' best players in like the last few months. If you look at the stats, like, he's consistently performing for them. He was good at Preezy, yeah. After Vitality let him go, like, this guy is just still a fucking solid player. So, who do you change at Falcons? I think you keep Dupree, you keep Magisk. I mean, mate, it almost feels like the Ents core. I don't know. Some powers are surely still such good all, but I don't know.
I'd get rid of Snappy.
Snappy and Madden feels like to me.
Madden, I think he's not good enough to play as aggressive as he does. Snappy, he's just been on a downer since CS2 came out. He's been very negative about it. He did really well on CSGO, but he's not doing very well on CS2. And
mate, Hooksy gets loads of shade for being a Debbie Downer and low numbers and not performing as an IGL. But you're right, Snappy should have as many eyes on him as Hooksy when you really break it down.
Yeah, but just because they're not in that upper echelon of teams, like, people aren't like giving him the attention because, you know, people just don't expect anything from them. Falcons are just a nothing team at the minute, so
you've got to expect something though after so much hoo-ha and Zonic and
exactly. But yeah, people have kind of moved on and forgotten about them. But
well, those are the two changes. Well, two people I'd lose. Who you're replacing with, I can't be bothered to think about right now. I'm going into player break mode myself, mate. You know I love a break. But I would get rid of Madden and Snappy and then fuck it, I don't know. Or you could do something like get rid of that old Ents core, Snappy, Magisk, Snappy, Sunpass and Madden. Bring Cadian in, IGL, AWP, and then fill those other gaps.
I honestly, I would, like, as much as I love Cadian, I just wouldn't get him to do both roles.
Really? You think he just needs to focus
I would get him
on
to in-game lead, but it's whether he'd be willing to rifle or not.
It's weird. I think I had a dream that I was AWPing the other day. Anyway, we're not going to go into that. Or was it a nightmare? Who knows? Fire League then. So that's young Kaping GG's. Fire League. I don't know. What is it? Oh,
Fire League.
you must
I've
be
not got too
excited.
much to say about it. No,
Fnatic were there.
Fnatic did all right. They beat Nip, and Nip have been on a bit of a roll, so I'll take that. I think that's a pretty good win for them.
Yeah, and to be fair,
9Z seems to be really good.
To be fair to Nip, man, they beat a few people again. I mean, that Nip team, they can go after this break. If they go into a nice boot camp and make some nice little proper runs, they could start looking all right. I mean, what have they got coming up? Oh, I can only see. The full groups. Yeah, the next full groups, the Blast full groups, which is in July. Which some big teams there. You got Spirit, Vitality, FaZe, Na'Vi, G2. If they make a good run there, then fair play to them. They're making some moves and it started to look like a good team. But yeah, as a tournament, I don't know.
Right. No, I'm not really interested. To be honest,
fine.
Sorry.
Right, let's move on.
I'm thinking of Nexa leaving G2, the worst kept secret in CS.
I'm so bored of talking about G2. I don't even really want to go on about.
Let's not then.
Because weirdly, I feel sorry for Nexa. I thought this Stewie 2K shenanigans, Nico IGLing shenanigans would just speed up and act as a catalyst to remove Nexa and Hooksy, or at least Hooksy. So Hooksy's still holding on with his bare hands, but mate, I don't want to go into G2, man. Fucking just sort their lives out. Get a proper team going. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they're getting this Malbs guy from M80 who
looks good. A bit of excitement there.
Looks like a good player. So yeah, we'll see what they're like.
How excited are we for new Into the Breach?
Into the Breach, yeah. Synopsys, Quan Flatroo. Yeah, I mean, they're looking like a pretty good team, to be fair. Like, they're not going to set the world on fire, but pretty impressive.
What about
who they get as their star rifler, though? Do we know? Have we got any ideas?
No idea, man.
Right, well...
they've got Rallen still on the bench, man. I thought Rallen wasn't that bad for them. I mean, I guess if they're trying to transition to a bit more of like a top 20 team again, I'm not sure Rallen quite cuts it, but I don't think he was ever that bad for them. He could step in for a bit if they haven't got someone lined up once the season restarts or the new season starts.
I feel like they might have someone in mind.
Well, I think Smooya said that they've got someone on trial that they're trialing, but I wouldn't believe a fucking word that comes out of Smooya's mouth. The guy is like just talks air. Like, fair play, but I wouldn't believe a word of him.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about all the Liquid Furia? I mean, that all seems like such a mess as well. Like, Skulls might be going to Furia. Cadian's left Liquid. I mean, it all just feels like... I
don't know what Liquid are going to do. Like, now they need an AWPer and, an AWPer that they've not already had, and an in-game leader. Which they're changing the roster so quick. It's like they're running out of options because they fucking tried everything. Do you know what I mean? But
it makes you wonder with the Cadian stuff. Like, something really they must be really unhappy with what he's doing there to be this drastic, and it feels very like he's pissed off.
It's been on the cards for a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know, which is still quite soon though, isn't it? After you make this team and make it all like they announced a player a day and dramatic, and it's like, oh my god, and then like 2 tournaments after, they're like, oh, Caden's a bit of a cunt. It's like, what's happened there? So I'd love to be a fly on the wall at some of these teams and just see exactly what goes on, because surely we all have people we work with who are a bit annoying, but then 10 years later you're like, I'm still working with this stupid guy and I actually kind of like him. Well, that's what happens, isn't it? Anyway, I don't know.
It's hard to say unless you're like in the scene. You've got you've got ears in the ground, and you kind of
know
you're
what's going
there,
on.
but it's not working. So
Okay.
they've got Twist, Yukinda, Naf, who we know are good players, and if yeah, you know, he's quite a vocal guy, isn't he? If he's getting a bit too, I don't know, too much for them. But
Mate, if they're
yeah,
doing, if
anyway,
I was them, I would. Do you know what? I would just blow it all up now. I'd get rid of Kinder, Cadian's obviously bench, and Skulls then, and just build around
Naf,
Naf and
Twist.
Twists. I don't know. That's where I'm stopping again. I'm not throwing any ideas out there, but I thought it'd be quite good just to quickly. We've been going 45 minutes, so we'll wrap this up. Question: who has been the team of this year so far, or this season? Which, interestingly, by the way, I believe this is the first time the CS community's actually classed this as seasons. Launders was saying on a video, by the way. I didn't know that was true. So, who has been the player of the season, or this
player?
Team. Sorry, team. I just want team. I know it's going to player. I think we basically know it'll be between two of them.
I'm saying teams, Mouse or FaZe. Spirit. Oh, fucking. This is a hard one because it's been a really funny season. You've got Navi winning the major. You've got Spirit coming onto the scene. You've got Mouse getting #1. You've FaZe had #1 for a while.
Yeah, but when you look at, let's ignore the rankings. You're right with what you're saying because all these teams basically won something. Yeah, Spirit won Blast.
You could say Navi won the major, so that's fucking amazing for them considering.
Yeah, but then they did nothing other than just got to the final list, didn't they?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
It's weird because CS.
I would say Mouse or FaZe for me, the team of this season. Spirit did
Spirit,
well.
they won Katowice, man. That's like the next one down from the major.
Yeah, but I felt like FaZe were a bit more consistent, even.
I think all those finals really prop you up, don't they?
Yeah, I would have to say FaZe just on the consistency and the fact that they won events, but also have been in the finals so often.
Okay, and if you're taking my team, I will say Spirit because they won Katowice and Blast.
But they were too quiet, mate. They didn't play enough.
They didn't, but they also did win 2 big arena events. Whereas FaZe, you've chosen FaZe, so I just want to choose someone different. Mouse, yes, they had a great season, and it's actually been great to see them have this season, and long may it continue. But the 2 wins they won were in smaller environments where there was less pressure. Again, we're gonna have to keep saying that until they win a Katowice or a Cologne or something. And I don't think Navi can just rest on their laurels after the major, where it felt like they basically won the major and then all went on holiday for the rest of the season till last week, and they're like, "Fuck, boys, we best start playing again." It's like, yeah, the season's over now, so we're going into the next season. There's another major cycle. So you go FaZe, I'll go Spirit. There you go. And Spirit have just.
I'm still going to argue Spirit didn't play enough, but
fine.
Yeah,
they still got effectively.
But they are now #1.
First time in their history.
Yeah, which is massive for them and well deserved because they are unreal. So much credit to them. Like, not just the Donk hype. You've got Donk, Shiro, Chopper.
Zontics,
I think is a great in-game leader. Zontix has been playing well.
Magix is.
Magic.
I quite like him as a personality as well. I think he brings a lot to the scene. All right. Well, listen. Let's wrap this up. We've been going for some time. Episode 50. We want to thank everyone again, as always, for listening, tuning in. It's been 50 episodes, which is like genuinely mental. Like, I don't think we thought we'd do 50 episodes when we started. There is a player break now. I think we'll take I don't know. We haven't spoke about it, but I think it would be good to take at least a week off, just to maybe just chill. And there's not gonna be loads to talk about, so we will see you guys probably in a couple of weeks, but we'll keep you posted on socials. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for everyone we met at Blast and Legends. Anything else really? We gone?
Oh, just to mirror what you've said, mate, I appreciate everybody listening, and I feel like it's been a sick season. I feel like it's been probably our best yet for the podcast. I feel like it's really good, and I felt like I had a much better grasp of the CS community going to London, and also not meeting, but speaking to the casters and whatnot, and even on social media, like
Harassing.
a few of them have reached out on socials, and I just think it's been pretty sick, and I want to thank everyone for listening.
And can I just say, Vitality didn't win anything this season, which is symbolic of the way ZywOo treated me. All right, GG guys, let's send it there. See ya.